Welcome in everybody to a Tuesday night edition of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, DK in the background. And look, Glenn, it is Steelers week. Let's go. I'm so excited to get into the show. We're going to talk, of course, all things Steelers, talk about the upcoming game, talk about, our reflections from last week's game, how the Ravens can improve upon that, what we feel like they can take from it moving forward, pressers, injuries, rumors. We're here for all things Ravens. But before we get into it and go any further, of course, as always, want to shout out our awesome sponsor, BetOnline, the OG, as Glenn says, in the sports gambling world. Glenn, what we got new going on with our sponsor?
Well, first and foremost, something that's not new is that they are still the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. BetOnline has the earliest odds, in-game live betting. BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games and gamble on them as they are being played. Has the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, NHL, UFC, and MMA in general. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. And Jimbo, look, we have our preview episode for this weekend's matchup coming up this weekend, but man, what a matchup this is, a battle for first place of the AFC North in a game that I don't think Ravens fans thought maybe a month ago it would be this competitive of a matchup, but the changes that we've seen the Steelers make offensively, adding on to the fact that they already had one of the best defenses, this is going to be one hell of a ball game this weekend, Jimbo.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Russell Wilson has done a lot to settle the ship there and then provide them with adequate to above average quarterback play when needed. I'm not saying that he's a savior or any stretch of the imagination, but he's certainly given them more dimension to their offense in comparison to Justin Fields. It's crazy, man. I was really high on Justin Fields coming out, but he has proven to be relatively limited as a passer of the football. But yeah, all that being said, I agree with you 100%, Glenn, because, you thought coming into the season, this defense looks good. We know who they are. Tomlin is who he is. So they're going to be fighting, scratching, clawing, all those things. But we didn't see them as first in the division, sitting there with the best record in the division. Now, there's also an important part of their record to point out. They're also 0-0 in the division. No intra-division matchups. Thus far, the Ravens are 2-1, unless I'm missing something. We have 2 wins against the Bengals, one loss against the Browns, which is still outrageous to me. But I'm excited for this game, man. I cannot wait. I know we'll dig into it more. But you're right. This matchup is going to be – this makes me think of, I'm trying to think, what years was this, Glenn? I feel like this all kind of blends together. But, what was the year that the unfortunate accident to Torrey Smith's brother happened? Was that 13 or 14, or was that 11 or 12?
Before or after the Super Bowl is the question.
Was it the Super Bowl year?
Oh,
I don't think so. I think it was the year before. Anyway, my point is that, do you remember those games? Like that Steelers game? I feel like this is lining up to be a game that is high leverage, a lot of memorable moments for both fans, and we'll hope it breaks right for the Ravens, man.
That's all we can hope for now, but this is a awesome game this weekend, and I can't wait for it. But look, we're not here yet to talk about this upcoming matchup. We're here to kind of get you caught up to date with all the news after coming off the Thursday game, being able to watch a Sunday afternoon slate of games relatively stress-free. I will say, God dang it, I was so looking forward to either the Steelers or the Chiefs losing. Both would have been ideal. And they both just find freaking ways to win. Like the Chiefs were done. They have to make a makeable field goal. And what does Denver do? They let them block the field goal in the last play of the game. And then, the Commanders should have had the Steelers, in my opinion. I thought they had them, but
hey, Glenn, I gotta speak to that though. That Denver game. How encouraging was it to see the pass rush of Denver be so disruptive against the Kansas City Chiefs and relatively mitigated against the Baltimore Ravens? To me, that was encouraging.
Yeah, that was. There's no doubt. But the only thing is, Denver defense has some pretty studly corners in the secondary that can maybe slow down their wide receivers a little bit longer than from what we've seen from some of our corners, which we're certainly going to get into. But yeah, I mean, encouraging nonetheless to know that you can get pressure on him. The question is, like, for his whole career, I think up until this year, he's been the best at turning pressures into not getting sacked. Pat Mahomes has, like, as far as pressure percentage that didn't end up in a sack, he was as good as it gets up until this season. So pressuring him is great, and it certainly matters, but you got to finish the job. And I think the Ravens have seen in the past, if you don't, that he can absolutely kill you. But yeah, it was important.
But I was really pointing to our offensive line.
And how we were able to
offensive line. You know what I'm saying? We left that unit not nearly as impactful as the Chiefs' offensive line, allowed them to be. So to me, that's a nice takeaway for that O-line, who has come a long way, man. Come a long way.
Yeah, and this weekend it's going to get tested, because I don't know if there's a more.
Are you going to get us copyright for putting this up?
But no, why would I?
I don't know. I know that YouTube's been going crazy with the. Anyway,
this is just words.
Fair enough.
Any video.
I guess
it's like pictures, videos, audio.
I'm over paranoid here.
Yeah, I think we're good here. But this is just the first of a couple things. I want to get your take on this, Jimbo, because oddly enough, after last week's win, it felt like, even though there was a huge win in the division, beating the Bengals in a game that, it could have been the one that kind of the straw that breaks the back. Even though they have chances, they got to win almost every game. They do have a chance, but it was a good win. It was a big win. But in a lot of ways, even in the locker room, like, the defensive side of the ball was not celebrating. Like, this didn't feel like a big win because of how the defense played, because Jamar Chase was a one-man wrecking crew, and because Joe Burrow pretty much did whatever he wanted to do against our defense. And outside of a Marlin strip, there wasn't a whole lot of stops being had out there. But then you look into the numbers and you go, well, did they turn some sort of corner, at least in the front seven? And you can see here, the Ravens defense finished with 40 pressures, Jimbo, on 56 pass attempts. There was only 16 pass attempts, which Joe Burrow was not pressured. Obviously, Nnamdi Madubuike led the way and set a career high with 3 sacks on the day on top of the 10 pressures. But that's just one example, and I'm going to throw another one up here, Jimbo, because what's going on here?
I'm just laughing at DK's comment. He says the whole team has become almost always because we're looking at pressures now.
Well, look, I've been hearing lately that pressure matters more than sacks, and that it's more important to have a high pressure rate than it is to have a high sack rate, is what I'm hearing.
Sure.
I'm no.
I wonder what TJ Watt thinks about that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And look, I don't want to see. I get frustrated as anyone when I see Oweh almost get there. But here's another stat I want to show up here. This is the defense havoc rate this season, which is a percentage of plays when the defense gets a pressure, tackle for loss, interception, forced fumble, or pass breakup. And no surprise, I mean, Detroit has been one of the very best defenses, certainly opportunistic, scoring on that side of the ball and just playing out of their mind. They're 51%. Cleveland, another good defense, 51%, led by Myles Garrett. But as you can see here, Baltimore very respectfully in at number 8. And if you look at those other teams in the top 8, I don't think you'd say any of these teams have a bad defense, right? Like, all these teams, these are the best defenses in football.
So
outside
does
of a couple.
List get discredited because the Ravens are at 8 to you, or are you seeing
That's
this
what
as?
I'm asking you.
Right.
This is why I'm saying, like, is this another? Because look, we talk about all the time how when you're a fan of a team, you're hyper focused. You notice you notice everything that they do wrong, and you don't oftentimes credit them enough for the things they do well. And we focus on the bad things. So, who do you think? Does Carolina have a good defense, Jimbo? I mean, I think we'd all agree that they are one of the worst defenses, and this list shows that to be the case. So, are we incorrect in that, like, they're not as bad as we think, or are they as bad as we think? And some of these numbers can be deceiving.
It's so interesting. Just to give you guys some quick background, generally when we go into this thing, before we do the show, we talk about a few things. We kind of already know what we're going to talk about, right? We've been doing this for a minute. We know what we're going to talk about, but we want to outline some things. And Glenn brought up the defense. It's funny because the way that you presented the defense before we hit record, I thought you were going to be overly negative about the defense. Like, I thought that was your stance, like the no hope stance. Now it seems like you're more encouraged than I thought that you were going to be. So now I have to take that into consideration with my own opinion. Sometimes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you present a good argument, I'm not dumb enough to ignore your logic. You know, I'm not a politician, right? So I'm not that stupid. You know what I mean? Like, I'll respond to someone's logic, right?
Yeah.
It's just hard for me. I believe in these guys and believe what they can do. They have just been a day late and $1 short, Glenn. Like, that's what's been happening to this defense right now. So I'm answering your question in a million words. Really, the answer to me is I believe we have the tools in the toolbox to get it done. Now, are we going to be able to get pass rush with no blitz? I don't know. And if we don't, I think that's our epic failure. Like, that's our fall this year, right? We'll get deep in the playoffs, not be able to get pressure, have to blitz. We'll see the whole thing with Mahomes all over again, and no holding calls will be called. Nothing will be in our favor. You know what I mean? Like, all of that will happen all over again. But do we have the horses? Yes. So to answer your question, I think we can get there. My biggest concern is just, you talked about the pressures, but can we sustain it? Can we get home? Can we depend on this unit? Because outside of Matabike, think about this, Glenn. If you're just reading names, okay. So I want you all to do a thought experiment, okay? If you don't have to close your eyes, but if you just sat here and thought, and you had no idea what football team they were on, you outside of Matabike, if I just named Kyle Van Noy, David Ajabo, Adafe Owe, Tavius Robinson, who am I forgetting at edge? I mean, like, that's like our top end rotation, right? Like, does that unit sound very concerning if you're an offense?
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what always...
It could be. Look, I think what I'm trying to get at, Jimbo, is maybe I was wrong in assuming that the front seven was the area we should attack, and that I said it. We need to get a pass rusher.
Right. We all did.
Maybe I was wrong, and maybe it was the defense, the back end of the defense, that needed to be addressed. Now they end up doing really nothing except for Tre'Davious White, who isn't practice, and hey, maybe he makes a bigger impact than we assume. But here's the part that really, Jimbo, I don't know. Look, Kyle Hamilton was injured, left last week's game, didn't play in the second half. Now the coaches come out and John Harbaugh mentioned that, hey, the results of the tests came out about as positive as we could have hoped. It doesn't look like a long-term injury, but I think this weekend's game is very much so in doubt. And knowing that, he's our only good safety, Jimbo. He's the only one that appears to have any skills as a football player. And who we're going to be left with, Jimbo, I don't know if you can make this out on your screen here, ladies and gentlemen, but what's the perfect passer rating, Jimbo, in the NFL?
Yeah, what is it, 158.3?
Yeah. What can you see on there? Is Marcus Williams allowing up as a passer rating when targeted?
158.3.
So
it's because he's not even in the frame, Glenn.
Well, he's got to be close enough to be targeted. Or
not even think about this. Not only is it the passer rating against him 158.3, so is the rating. There's a perfect rating that he will also not be within the frame of the camera. Like, he's just looking for dandelions out there. I don't get it. He's like the little Glenn. You just coach little kids in baseball. There's always that little kid that's lost in the outfield, swatting flies and picking up bugs or sitting on their butt on the ground, right? That seems to be Marcus Williams this year. It's wild to me, Glenn.
Yeah.
That's a big problem.
It's not good. It's not good when the guy you entrust with to be the literal the safety of your defense, the guy who's supposed to be the last line of defense, is giving up an absolute perfect passer rating. And every time they throw his way, it just seems like good things happen for the offense. And then you look at other guys. There's a lot of other guys that aren't looking so hot on this list. Jalen Armour-Davis, 151 rating. I mean, Brandon Stevens. I mean, holy smokes, this guy is giving up. I mean, it's absolutely insane how many yards and completions this guy's given up. The same can be said. I mean, Trenton Simpson. Now, you give him a little bit more leeway being a new starter, but Eddie Jackson, I mean, what are you doing? He's absolutely clueless. So I think the issue has got to be with the back end of the defense. And so,
well, let me ask you that. Let me pose this to you then, Glenn. If you look at this list and you look at Marlon Humphrey, he's got, if I'm not mistaken, the
balling.
best. Yeah, 64. And then if you look
Nate
at Wiggins,
balling.
right? So if you have those two guys, and what if Tre'Davious comes in and you just do a bloop, you pull out Brandon Stevens, you put in Tre'Davious, right? And there's improvement, and then you keep Marlon in the slot and you keep Wiggins on the other side. Do you like that idea? Obviously, depending on how Tre'Davious plays, it will assume there's improvement. Or do you like the idea of saying, screw it, we need to kick Marlon back to the outside? Like, how much do you value keeping him in the slot primarily in comparison to try and help the bleeding, stop the bleeding with Brandon Stevens? Or do you let Brandon just ride this thing out? Like, my thought is John's going to let Brandon work this thing out because he trusts him. He likes the way he plays football. He's a guy groomed by John Harbaugh, right? But what do you think about the usage of Tre'Davious and how we, add him into that unit? If you're talking, if that's the unit that needs improvement, what are we going to do with Tre'Davious, right? And how does that affect the other guys?
Yeah, certainly. I don't think you could go wrong. I mean, you're 32nd ranked pass defense. So you throw shit at the wall and you hope something sticks is the approach that I would be taking. And Tre'Davious White's limitations are typically pointed to his top end speed. He's an older guy who's had 2 devastating injuries to his lower extremities. So I don't think it's an unreasonable thought to put him out there in this specific game, because if you look who he would be guarding, they're not burners. They're big, physical, high point the ball type receivers. It's likely he'll be matched up with Pickens, Mike Williams. I'm trying to think who else is. I know they have Calvin Austin, who's got some speed to him, but primarily you're going to be taking on a big, strong, high point the ball type receiver who's tough to bring down if you let him catch it, but not a guy who's necessarily going to burn right by you and the speed. So why not? Let's see. If it doesn't work, we can always go back to Brandon Stevens and his 120 whatever rating it is in the millions of catches he's allowed. But I assume that they're thinking, look, we've seen with our own eyes Marcus Williams play Pro Bowl level football for us. Like, we've seen it. We don't know what the hell he's doing right now, but we've seen it. And my guess is that's their hesitancy to pulling the cord. I mean, that in the paycheck that he's getting. But you think if Kyle Hamilton is out, which we don't want, we want him out there. Yeah. But if he is out, does this force the hand of the coaching staff into allowing either Sanusi Kane to get some time, or Bo Braid, who we've been just begging to get some clock for these guys? Why not when you're deep third safety is giving up a gosh darn perfect passer rating, which is hard to do, by the way. It's like a lot of these guys are getting doo-dooed on and they're not giving up a perfect rating. So to give up a perfect rating, you got to be really bad.
Yeah, no, really.
In their hand, could we see Bo Braid and or Sanusi Kane this weekend?
I would be surprised. I feel like John, and I don't know if this is good or bad. Like, I feel like most cases I trust John Harbaugh, but I think he values experience, especially later in the season. And so I totally get what you're saying. I think that I would give it a run, give him some clock. So we might see some of it, but I don't know if it'll be as much as you want. But I see what you're saying. I mean, it really does force their hand, but I think that John has to think like this. He has to think, okay, at the very least, even though it seems that way, Marcus is not going to see anything on the field that he hasn't seen before, even though it seems that way. You know what I mean? Where Kane or Bo could be out there and it could be like dropping a kid that's in middle school algebra 1 into a trig class, right? Like, oh, this is a problem. I thought I was good at math. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway,
it could be a lot.
But look, they could also swim, right? You ever seen the videos of the people that have their baby swimming classes? The babies
just throw them.
The water survival class where they teach them to float. They're like 4-month-old babies.
Just throw them right
in.
If
anybody threw my 7-month-old into the pool, I would punch them in the face. Like, come on.
Yeah, but you know what your 7-month-old would do?
What?
Float.
You think so?
Dude, I see it all the time. It scares the shit out of me, but
dude, would you bet on it?
Not with my baby. Man.
No, I ain't betting on it either. You know how much water that poor kid would swallow?
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be good.
Oh, anyway, so I don't know. I like your point. I really like the idea of
But could
bringing
it
one of
be
those two out
like
there because
it
they
can't
could
be
just be a lot of energy and physicality and
right.
positivity and speed, and where Marcus just seems to be negative and blaming and finger pointing and lost. And even I don't know if any of you guys saw The Wired with Ronnie Stanley mic'd up against the Broncos, but I saw him go up to Marcus and say encouragement, encouragement, encouragement. Like that seemed to be his word of the day of that game. But the point is that he specifically went up to Marcus for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? Like he seems to be in this Debbie Downer cycle thing.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
anyway, I like your point though, Glenn. I mean, but are you nervous about I mean, I guess in every game we got to be nervous about the defense. Gosh dang it. I was going to ask if you're nervous about this game or
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. They're playing phenomenal. First of all, they're challenging secondaries. Like they are throwing an obscene amount of deep shots to their big guys on the outside. Like they don't give it. Russell Wilson, I think, took 8 deep shots last game. 8 in one game, Jimbo. And then you add to that, now they have a banged up Najee Harris who will have to wait and see his status. But if he's playing, they got a 2-headed monster running back that are physical. And look, Russell Wilson has won the Super Bowl, been to 2 of them. Should have won 2 of them. But, you know, we all know how that went. They and then their defense, I mean, probably the most organized blitzing team you'll see. They have some injuries there too. Highsmith, it doesn't look like he's going to play. It seems, I think Tomlin may have already mentioned that, which is a big win in that, you know, in that regard for the Ravens that they don't have to see him and TJ Watt. But Herbig's coming back, and I mean they're good on defense. They're always good, even when they're not good. They're good on defense. So I'm just I'm a little bit nervous about this game. I think they gotta be on their A game. We can't see a slow start. I think your point, Jimbo. I talked to it about talked to somebody else about you originally brought up the point that the Ravens should be the only team in the league that elects to receive if they win the opening coin toss. I think you're 100% right. Ever since you said it, I've watched them. When they lose the coin toss and they're forced to take the ball, what do, Jimbo? Bing, bang, boom, right down, score. When they kick the damn ball, the other team holds our defense on the field for 10 minutes, and then Lamar comes out cold. So I think you take the ball, you try and start hot, because man, if this is a slow start, Jimbo, against this team,
it's a problem. Man. Yeah, no, it's just, I mean, it's tactics, right? We talked about this before, but sometimes you want to play head games with the opponent. You go out there strong and you get that lead. You put your foot down on their throat a little bit, and it can mess with them, right? They start to come out with some urgency, and Russell starts to fling that ball a little bit more. But in that same Wired episode, I did see that if you score last in the first half and first in the second half, you increase your winning chances by like 70%. But how many? That's the thing. The thing that's frustrating for me about that. Have you ever played Monopoly Deal, Glenn?
With you?
If anybody's played Monopoly Deal, sometimes people lose because they're holding cards. They're waiting for the perfect scenario to set up. Sometimes you just gotta play. You just gotta let the cards fly, right? Yeah. And like so my point is that how many times, I'd be interested to know, does that actually line up perfectly, right? To where like you're in a position where you get to score, and then you get the ball coming out of the house, and then you score coming out of the half. Like that doesn't, I wouldn't say that that's incredibly common.
Right.
That just happens all the time, right? Because not only do you need to get the timing to line up, which you're not holding control of, then you have to execute on both of those plays. So to me, I don't think that outweighs the 7-0 lead you can get if you execute on that first drive and make them, because now you know what they're thinking. Crap, this is the most high power offense in the history of the NFL potentially. We got to stay up with these guys. And what they start doing, they start running too fast and they burn themselves out, and then you take off, So yeah, I'll be interested to see how things go this week. James Lee Wiley says, I trust Harbaugh and his staff to figure out the defense. We have to be faithful is what I'm going to add to that. We have to have faith.
Yeah.
We have to be faith. Okay. We have to have faith. We got you, James. I agree with him to a certain extent. I think the ship.
Well, we don't have a choice, Jimbo, right?
Can be corrected. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is now, right?
Right.
There's a whole campaign. Did you see that? I saw sources where the Ravens were willing to trade a 5th for Calais Campbell, and the Dolphins said no.
Dolphins are idiots. I mean, look, I guess their win this past week, secured the fact that they still have a chance. I think they're 3-7, Jimbo. They were 2-7 at the trade deadline and decided to go for it. That and look, I have a couple other things. One last thing here about the defense, and then I'm going to ask you. I'm going to change topics here and switch. Oh, damn it! I didn't want to do that. Let me try this one more time. I shared the wrong screen. Let me share the correct screen here, Jimbo, because the one thing, and look, we can't go back. We can't change history, right? We can't change. We can't change what's already been done as far as the staff on this team. But I've got to ask you, what your take is on this, because is this team's offense or is this defense? I think this is offense scored. Yeah, defense. Okay. I'm going to pull up the defenses for two guys that were on our staff here, Jimbo, that John Harbaugh decided. He said, I'm going to go with a young guy. I'm going to go with Zach Orr to lead this defense. And I'm going to let some guys go. And I always forget his name, but the new defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans was our defensive backs coach. Denard, I want to say. I always forget this guy's name. I'm pretty good with names, but for some reason,
Denard Wilson.
So he was on our staff last year, and they decided to let that guy leave and go be the DC in Tennessee, and they decided to go with Zach Orr. Jimbo, are the Tennessee Titans a good team?
No.
Do they have a good offense?
They don't have a good anything, do they?
No. Their quarterback is who?
Mason Rudolph, dude. Rudolph, the red-nosed
He
Rudolph.
was for a couple games, but returning
who do they
this
have
past
now?
week, mayonnaise guy.
Is he back? Will Levis? See, they're not even relevant.
They're not relevant, right? They're garbage. Guess who has the number one defense in football? Tennessee Titans.
The number one defense?
Look at it on your screen.
Even with a terrible offense?
That's my point. With the worst offense, maybe in football, guess who gives up the least amount of yards per game?
Wow.
So imagine if that guy was our defensive coordinator instead of going to the Tennessee Titans. And then also, just to go a little further, we just talked about the Dolphins, who again were 2-7 with their quarterback having his third concussion, and everyone was they thought they were done. They had no offense. They couldn't do anything. Well, even during that time when they had no offense, I mean, horrible offense. If you guys look, I had fantasy players on that team, so I was forced to pay attention to what they were doing.
Right.
They couldn't do anything while Tua was out. Nothing.
Yep.
They still have a top 10 defense, Jimbo, under Anthony Weaver, who was our D-line and assistant head coach.
And we let him walk.
And we let him walk for Zach Orr. And so if you go all the way down, now here's the Ravens. So, it's just
who has the most favorable situation because the offense is so dominant. You make the opposing offensive team so one-dimensional, and you still can't capitalize.
It's absolutely unbelievable. So, look, again, you can't go back and change time. We can't go back and steal Wilson, or Anthony Weaver. Can't do any of that. But it just shows that we talk about how Harbaugh is a great, constructor of a staff. This guy can recruit and build a staff, and looks like he's done a pretty good job on the offensive side of things, but he might have missed one on the Zach Orr selection, Jimbo. At least as it stands right now.
Whoo! Mossy says, do you see Calais, Pat Queen, Clowney has good games this weekend? Yeah. I mean, I saw the game. I don't know did Pat Queen have a real,
he had his best game so far, but not, he had his best game.
Yeah, Calais, I did see having a good game. I didn't watch Clowney. I watched the Steelers game and I watched the Dolphins game, but I didn't see you couldn't force me to.
Well, look,
you'd have to put toothpicks on my eyes to keep my eyes open during that game.
Oh, well, you saw who they played?
No, I don't even know anything about the Panthers.
The Panthers were the 9:30.
Wait. They played the Giants, right? And it was because the Giants lost.
So turn that game off.
Yeah, terrible. Right.
I had to watch because Malik Neighbors is on my fantasy team, and let me tell you, travesty that man has to deal with Daniel Jones as his quarterback. That guy is way too good. It sickens me that he has to deal with that stinking ass quarterback and the Giants who just destroyed that team.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that guys, like, seriously, maybe I like to think that I'm a competitive guy, but after Jones' contract, wouldn't you just be done?
Right.
Like, I would not want to be a backup.
No.
I mean, I guess it's like free money in a lot of ways, but training camp sucks. Like, you
He's
have
already made enough
all the
money.
money for your
Yeah.
entire life and your generations ago. Just take your time. Like, literally, you bought your time. Take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I
He
would just
got
be
he got
dumb.
he got his bag, man. Right
Like,
off
Joe
into the
has a
sunset.
built-in excuse because he's got like 80,000 kids at home that I don't know if he wants to be around all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's really but hey, look, these backup quarterbacks can make a ton of
Yeah,
money
but
to
Daniel
literally
Jones ain't
never
gonna be in
play.
that list of
Well,
backup
he will
quarterbacks making
because
tons of money.
eventually it ends up just being your time. Like your seniority in the league increases your
I guess
league
that's true.
minimum
That's
to
fair.
a pretty ridiculous rate. But I hope. Hey, SMKG says Danny Dimes is getting back. I hope so. But who's their quarter? Oh, Kenny Pickett is their backup.
Is it Kenny? I thought he was with Philadelphia.
Oh, you know what he might be. Who is
Yeah,
it
Kenny
that's
Pickett's in
there?
Philadelphia. And I keep thinking it's Tyrod Taylor, but Tyrod plays for the Jets.
Yeah, who is Danny
Is
Dimes?
it DeVito?
No, is it? Let the
That's
gunslinger get out there, bruh. You know, I love
Hey,
that
you'll sell
story.
some
Oh, Drew
tickets, that's
Lock.
for
There it
sure.
is. Sedarian said it
Oh,
right.
it
It's
is Drew Lock,
That's who it
yeah.
was. I couldn't think of it. Yep. Thank you, Sedarian. Appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, look, this defense has some issues, and look, we will get into all of it really when we do our pregame show, our preview show coming up later in this week. But one other thing I've got to ask you about, John Harbaugh was asked about this very topic and brushed it off. Said, I'm not worried about it. I see this guy in practice, and I'm not worried about it. And Jimbo, I gotta ask you, was he lying when he said that? We need to talk about Justin Tucker. In the last 3 years, he's missed some kicks, Jimbo. He's missed, let's see, he's 84 out of his 99 attempts. Now, look, to his credit, I will give him this. There's a lot of long misses on this screen right here. You can see even 22, he missed 56, 61, 67, 48, 50, 55, and one extra point. A couple of those were blocked. And then in 23, he missed a 59, a 61, a 53, and a 55-yarder, as well as a 44-yarder and one extra point. And then this year already has one extra point miss. So that's one in every year of the last 3 years. And then again, he's had the misses when it comes to long field goals, missing 53, 56, 46, and 50. So he does have a couple under 50, none under 40. But as you can see there, Jimbo, we are not used to seeing when a guy has a career field goal percentage of close to 91%. When you see 84.8 over a 3-year span, that's alarming in this game where everyone's pretty much perfect in today's day and age when it comes to kicking. Do we have a problem here in Baltimore when it comes to kicking?
Gosh dang it. I can't say yes. I can't turn my back on Justin Tucker. But I will say this. The game that was on Monday night, last night, they had I don't even remember who it was. I want to say it was the Dolphins. They had a decent kick. And now that I think about it, might have been the Rams, but it was the Rams. Anyway, it was right at the end of the half, I believe they put in a field goal. And it was like a 55-yard or something like that. His swing, he made it look so easy. And the thing I see about Justin lately is it just seems like he's over swinging. He's hitting that thing so hard that look, I'm not a kicker. I don't know if that's anything to do with it, but sometimes when you're so focused on your velocity, of course your accuracy is going to decrease. I mean, we know this in pitching. We know this in throwing anything, right? Like kicking, the same thing. So that concerns me.
Yeah.
The how much effort he's putting behind his kicks concerns me, because the other guy just seemed like it was just a boop. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't seem like he had to put much leg behind it. So I'm not ready to hop off the bandwagon. I'm there till the wheels fall off, man. Justin Tucker has me, and I'm on his side, dude. I'm Team Tucker.
Well, look, it's hard for the fans at home to notice. You know, like you said, we're not kicking experts. Like we don't really see exactly what's going on. But some who are a little bit more experts in it, or at least Twitter experts, have pointed out, and I've seen a couple videos, and Jeremiah brings it up in the chat here that he says it's probably the operation given the history. And it could be that, because I did see some breakdowns where it was showing Stout not holding the ball perfectly vertical, kind of holding the ball slanted, which which obviously in this operation could cause issues, but that's not like they're not going to change the holder, right? I mean, I guess they could, but would you be in favor of that level of a shakeup? Like, look, if it's not Tucker and it's the holder, should we try and give someone else a shot at holding the football and not Stout?
Yeah, put old Josh Johnson out there. You know he's done it.
He's had to have, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I say you give it a shot.
Yeah, at least in practice and all, and
look,
see how it goes.
If Stout doesn't have the hands, he doesn't have the hands, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like Flagship says, when did Sam Cook retire? When did we sign or bring in Stout? Was it not correlate? Like, did it not correlate perfectly with this timeline of him missing 15 field goals in the last years?
100%. Yeah, this is his third year, right?
Yep. So, hey, man, I think we need to say, hey, Sam Cook, we need you to just be the holder. We don't even need you to punt anymore, okay? You're now our all-time holder. We're gonna have you on the practice squad and elevate you on game day.
I like it.
You know?
Look, man, do what you got to do. But Glenn. Oh, you're back. Okay. The circle of death came on your screen for a quick second, but you are back.
Oh no. Okay.
But yeah, no, I like it. Look, roll Josh Johnson out there. Tell him to hold the ball. Hold the ball, Josh. Let's knock this thing off. But I wonder, I guess Tucker's never gonna like throw anybody under the bus, certainly not publicly, but I wonder how those conversations are going internally. He's got to be pissed off, right?
Well, the thing that I don't get, Jimbo, is we've been to how many practices by now? We know how it works. It's those three guys on a field by themselves, kicking for the entirety of practice. And then what they do the next day, they do that again. And then the day after that, they do that again. So it's like, that's why there's not leniency. Like, there's leniency when a guy drops a football because we get how hard it is under those circumstances. Now, if he's wide open, it's a different thing. But you got hands all over you. You getting basically assaulted while you're trying to catch a football. We give you some way. But when all you do, there's no like Mark Andrews who drops the ball. Okay. Well, in practice, he's got to worry about blocking a 320-pound guy. He's got to run a route. He's got to try and get open against a guy probably a lot smaller than him and faster than him. And then he has to do the job of catching. There's not all these thens and thises and that's when it comes to kicking. You spend all day practice kicking, and then in the game, that's all you do is kick. So it's like, this shit's got to get fixed, Jimbo. Like, we cannot, and sure, a game hasn't come down to where he's missed a game-winning field goal, but he's missed field goals early that we sure could have used late game. It could have changed the outcome.
Yeah, didn't he miss one in the Browns game?
Yep.
Yeah, missed one. Oh, and that would have given us the lead in my mind.
Well, we would have only needed a field goal at the end, and we
right. Yeah. I knew it was something like that. I was having a hard time remembering exactly what it was, but yeah, that was a pivotal one. Yeah, and then I think in our two early losses, right, he missed one in both of those games.
Right.
And those changed the dynamic of the game, just like you said, based on late game scenarios and stuff like that. So it needs to get fixed. I couldn't agree with you more, but I still think that as far as a kicker goes, Justin Tucker's certainly our best bet right now.
Right.
And,
oh, well, yeah.
You know, the hand that we should the leg that we should continue to depend upon and hope that operation gets fixed, man. Oh boy, it's gonna be interesting to see. But I have all the faith if it comes down to it, Glenn, this Sunday in Heinz Field or whatever they call it now. They still call it Heinz Field.
No, it's got some wild name now.
It's Heinz Field to me.
Yeah, it's always the big ketchup bottle in my Acrisure. Yeah, it's some weird. Yeah.
Good for them. Anyway, all that being said, look, I'm gonna be sure that Justin Tucker is going to nail it in the field, going to nail a field goal in it if it comes down to it in the Acrisure Heinz Field Stadium, whatever. Yeah.
So.
Anyway,
I hope so, man. It's a big game this weekend. If the Ravens are able to pull this out, they can.
Now, how much of a built-in excuse? I guess no excuses are professionals, but how much of a built-in? How much different will this defense, like how much leniency will you have to this defense if Kyle Hamilton doesn't play?
Oh, golly. I mean, leniency? I give them none. I give them zero leniency. You are the Baltimore Ravens defense. There is a standard. We are not going to drop that standard because you lose one guy. Like, no. Heck no. And look, Dean Pease, what the hell have you done since you've been here? Oh, Dean Pease, he's great. His input's been great. We've stunk. We've stunk. So, Dean, speak up. If not, get out of here. Let's get some other advisor in here. But no, I mean, to your question, this is the Ravens defense. I don't care who's out there. If you're wearing purple and black, there's a standard. There's a level. And right now, 32nd in anything is not meeting that level. So it'd be great to have Hamilton. I'd hate to not have him out there, but still no excuse for that's one guy, Jimbo. Like, it's not like we have a rash of injuries and we're so beat up. No, you should be able to absorb the loss of one guy, even if that one guy is an all-pro.
That's fair. Oh, boy.
Getting me fired up here, Jimbo.
And you're getting me nervous about this game. Gosh, dang it.
Well, it's always look, they always play us tough, even when they stink, and they're good.
And the Steelers at the end of that Commanders game, waving and blowing kisses to the fans there. Oh, that just lit me up, dude. Because I swear that was a first down.
Yeah, it was a first down. 100%. I don't know. I don't get how you talking about Ertz?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a first down.
Did you see how bad the initial spot was?
Oh my God. Like, what are we doing?
Seriously.
He took like one of those steps you do when you're trying to mark a yard off, but you don't know how. He took one of those steps.
He's like the contractor that comes in your house and does this. Now move over a skosh. Wait a second. You know what I'm saying? It was so bad. Yeah.
This this is a big game this weekend, and I think that it's fair to say that even if Kyle Hamilton doesn't play, if we see a similar result, even if we win, if we see a similar result where 400 plus yards passing and receivers are going absolutely nuts, there better be some sweeping personnel changes to the secondary. Like, you can't just keep trotting guys out there and going, it's going to change.
Here we go. Right.
Yeah. So we'll see this weekend, but man, my fingers are crossed that we see Bo Braid out there and Sanusi Kane at some point or another, especially if Kyle Hamilton's not suiting up.
Yeah, I agree. And this is the last thing I'll say about this defense. Maybe this will be easier against this team than it was against the Bengals. And look, to be fair, we've played some good wide receivers.
Yeah.
Right? But can we just keep guys in front, please? Can we not blow assignments? Can we do two things? Can we keep guys in front, and can we not blow assignments? Like, if we just did those two things, how drastically different would that secondary look? And then you add some tackling to
tackle.
That.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Then you got an average defense.
Yep. Exactly. The middle of the pack.
Yeah, Yay. You're right there, baby. It's just crazy.
And that's all we needed, really.
Yeah, but just like Glenn said, let's see. DK said, do you think we would be stubborn about trotting our guys out there if Tomlin was coaching us? Ooh, interesting question.
Well, he took a lot of heat for his decision to bench Justin Fields and go with Russell Wilson, and everyone said he was an idiot. Like, everyone on the national media said this is horrible. Look, you're in first place. What does this message send to the team? And what has it done? It's totally not just like worked. It's propelled them to a whole nother category where people look at them as legit competitors, and they were not looking at them like that. They were looking at them as this team could really make it messy and knock some teams out. And now they're competitors because of that change. So yeah, I mean, I think it's more, I think he's more likely to make those changes just because we've seen it recently with him.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a good point. Man, this is going to be, I tell you what, I'm so on edge about this game. I don't even know if I want anybody from Steelers media on. I'm like, I'm going to go off on somebody, do something I'm going to regret. You know what I mean? I'm just so on edge about this game, Glenn. I just can't. I'm struggling here, bro. I'm struggling because this is our year, and the stinking Steelers want to come in here and mess it up. God.
We still got Lamar Jackson on our side.
Oh, dude. Best football player of all time, baby.
That's right. Don't forget.
But I think we should get into our competition. What do you think?
Yeah, let's get to the results of last week's
It's been a while because it was a Thursday night game.
Yep.
So we'll give our results, of course. Let's get into it, DK.
Did I do good this week? I didn't.
Wait. Don't we have music, DK? No? Oh, dude, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's for the presentation of the. Dang, okay, my bad. Let's see. Over under Zay Flowers receiving long, 35.5 yards. The result was under at 19. I can't remember.
I think I said under too, didn't I? I had to have said under. Yes, I'm the only one who said under. You both said over.
All right, let's go to the next one. I'm such a child. All right, over under. Keaton Mitchell carries 1.5. He had a carry.
I don't think he did.
He had a carry. He had a 3rd and short carry. It was a penalty. It was a penalty.
Even though one still wouldn't have gotten.
I know, but gosh dang it, I didn't want to be that far off. That was a penalty.
By the way, DK, the only one who said over on this one. He knew it all. I mean, under. I'm sorry, under on this one.
Under.
He knew it. He knew it all along.
Freaking DK just setting us up over here, playing us like puppets. Just got his hand up our keister. Just freaking DK over here.
This guy. But all right, let's get into. Oh, hold on now.
What's up?
Why do I feel like we're looking at the wrong? Oh no, we are. Okay, I'm tripping. I was on the wrong one. All right, so Roquan Smith total tackles 5.5 is where he sets it. He ends up with 12. We all said over.
Yeah.
And we were all right. So,
see, DK was just setting us up here in that, like, he's like, we'll just give him a point.
Yeah, just throw some scraps.
Yeah. Exactly. Keep him entertained.
Thanks, DK. Appreciate it.
DK would be the type of animal that would like play with its prey for a while before he kills it.
Just toy with him a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase receiving yards. Oh my God.
So insane.
Hey, you know what I like? DK picked the under.
DK, that's probably the worst pick of the year, dude.
We picked the over, but boy, did we not think it was going to be 264.
No.
We didn't think it was going to be that.
He almost 4 times it. Almost.
Yeah, he did. He did. Oh, man. He really did. And look, if we play them in the playoffs as a 2-7 matchup, I wouldn't be shocked if he did 4 times at that time.
Seriously.
Doesn't look like we know what we're doing. First tiebreaker, total score. I think we all said over, right? Over. Yep, we all said over. And once again, I'm not picking the under ever.
Yeah.
With this defense combined with our offense.
Yeah.
You better put that shit at 100 or I'm picking the over. I mean, I'm telling you, you better put it up there. Because I'm not picking it under. But so we were all right there. Now, let me ask you a quick clarity question here. Can we add a wrinkle? Can we add a wrinkle to the over-under on the score in that you have to at least pick the correct winner? What do you think?
What do you mean the correct winner? Like who to win the game?
Yeah. I mean, we all picked the
Ravens.
Yeah, but I'm talking about going forward in case this weekend I might have a different prediction.
That's fine. Let Glenn pick the Steelers. Go ahead.
I'm just asking. No, this was hypothetical.
I like it.
I'm just asking.
I mean, people might not like it. I don't know if DK is the judge at the end of the day. DK seems to be shaking his head no.
No? Okay. All right. DK is the final
but I like it
when it comes in the like I feel like you should Steelers, bro. I feel like you should at least if you're gonna win an over under tiebreaker, I think you should have to pick the winner right. You know. But anyway, all right. Second tiebreaker, total yards for the Ravens, closest to the pin. Jimmy picked 500, so he lost.
Yeah, for once I was wrong.
DK for once who picked the under, and the lowest one was the correct answer here. I tried to be cheeky and pick between the two of you, and I paid the price once again. But who is this?
Oh, look at that, dude!
Hey, Jimbo.
I didn't realize. There
you know what I mean? I knew it
back
all along.
On the board, baby.
People's champ is back. That says champ.
People's
don't forget that.
Exactly.
No, that says champ.
Like
that says champ.
Sorry,
Yeah. The champ is back, ladies and gentlemen. Back where I belong, in the throne. It's weird. When I sat on the throne this week, Jimbo, after my win, it's like that memory foam. It just I sunk right in. And it went, welcome home. Like, it spoke to me. I was like, I looked around. I'm like, I don't see a speaker. But I just heard, welcome home, whispered into my ear when I sat down on the throne.
God.
The champion's throne. So, all is better in the world. No one has to worry. I am the champion once again, back where I belong. But let's get into this week's fan winner here.
Let's do it. Week 10 fan winner was Dave Cutzel. Mr. Dave right up the street grabbing a pizza before the draft. I think this is his second win of the season, if I'm not mistaken. So DK, correct me if I'm wrong, but if it is, he will either get, if he's only won once before, we'll send him the other t-shirt that he doesn't have. And if he has them both, this is his second one or his third? Second. Okay, so we'll send you the t-shirt that you don't have.
If you want us to send us the size of your significant other too.
Yeah, let us know let us
know. I know you have you and your wife, I believe, participate in our competition. So
yeah, so by way of DM, let us know beforehand if you want to get a free Christmas present. Just saying.
Hey now.
I'm okay being thrifty like that. You know what I mean?
That's right. So, just call me Santa Claus Glenny. Glenny Claus.
Oh my gosh.
Glenny Claus.
Anyway, folks, I think that's it for us tonight. We'll go. I think Glenny Claus has got some hot cocoa and some.
I got Mrs. Claus waiting for me. Hey now.
Quan says braid and Ardarius just start them. Where is Adisa?
I know he was dealing with that hamstring, and I don't know if what
Every time I see his name, I want to say I took a pill in Ibiza.
I took a pill in Ibiza.
Right. So maybe he's there partying it up.
Yeah, well, we know where he's not. He's not on the field this coming Sunday unless Ajabo gets somebody. There's too many guys there. Okay, look, they had to cut Yannick Ngakoue for crying out loud.
It's crazy to me. Cut Ajabo.
Yeah.
Who's gonna pick Ajabo up? You can re-sign him anytime.
It's kind of.
It's got to be a money thing since he was a second rounder.
I guess. But look, that's it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back later this week to get you set for this weekend's matchup with the Steelers. Can't wait for it. And, of course, we will always be here for the postgame after the Steelers matchup. But make sure you're here for our preview show. Be here or be square. Right, Jimbo?
That's right.